and I take care of Veeam pre-sales in Redington. And today we are going to talk about the backup as a service and DR as a service portfolio, which is available in Veeam. So today we are going to talk about a bit of the market overviews wherein we can fit in this product, the challenges which we have, uh, which as a managed service provider which they get generally, and what exactly is Veeam service provider, then what all new features we have introduced in service provider console, and how we can see everything in from one centralized console, which includes the licensing and the usage reporting. And at the end of the day, we'll also close this with the summary what all we have discussed. So without wasting further time, let's begin the session. So what exactly backup as a service and DR as a service? Where do we see this opportunity in the market? So what exactly is the features which are available wherein we can propose the values of the solution to our customers? So as you most of you are already aware of the fact that Veeam is a data protection company which follows the principle of availability. So when I say availability means your availability of the services which are running on your data centers. So if you see in today's world, right, if you talk about a data center, so you can see there are lots of market opportunities available wherein we can fit in this solution. If you talk about virtualization, I'm 100% sure, like in today's world, out of 100 maybe 90 percent of the guys are using virtualization. And when virtualization comes into the picture, you can see there are other services included with it. So where all we can fit in this the backup as a service, DR as a service portfolio. So these all are the parameters which are available on your screen wherein we can talk about this solution. The party is that the end customer is interested in listening to this. So if you talk about increasing uses of server virtualization, yes, almost 36% of the data centers are using this all over the world. If you talk about the data backup and recovery, yes, 32% of the industry is using it. Then you talk about IT infrastructure orchestration, data center consolidation, in improving your data center speed by having upgrading your environment with the latest hardware, which include SSD, flash storage technologies, etc. Then we also see an opportunity in deploying converged infrastructure platforms. So in all, whenever you talk about a data center, in data center, whenever it comes to availability, therein we see an opportunity wherein you can propose backup as a service, DR as a service platform running on Veeam platform. So these all are the market opportunities wherein we see the need of backup and DR as a service. So if you talk about the market, right? So see, the backup as a service, DR as a service, there is one survey which has been taken care by the appropriate authorities, and 75% of the guys, 75% of the end customer says that yes, they are interested in backup as a service, DR as a service. And out of those 75%, if you kind of elaborate it, so wherein your end customer is interested, the most majority of the votes goes to storing your remote data on a DR side. Means here it comes DR as a service opportunity, wherein customer is interested to have a DR environment, maybe placed in your VCSP environment. So this is the most likable solution wherein customer ask for it. And if you talk about DR as a solution, in DR as a solution, you need to have one foolproof solution wherein you can run end customer workload either from your environment or from public cloud environment. So both ways, you see an opportunity of DR as a service in that area. So then, where are the other factors wherein you see backup and DR as a service? Like for some of the enterprises, it's the most cost effective than in-house. So when you talk about a managed service provider, what managed service provider generally does, managed service provider does end-to-end services for his end customers, right? So when it comes to providing a services for an end customer, it's a benefit. When it comes to cost, they don't have to maintain anything, they don't have to invest on the resources and the infrastructure associated with it, because you are the one who's taking care of it, right? So this is one of the major factor wherein the end customer looks for a backup and DR as a service. Then the next part is, free up your IT staff for strategic initiatives. They if the most of the time for an IT administrator goes into the infrastructure management, doing patching, upgrading, monitoring, etc., etc., wherein they cannot, concentrate on their the the task for which they are hired for, the kind of strategic initiatives which they are supposed to do. So there also you can come into a picture wherein you can also propose your infrastructure, and the IT staff associated with that company can work on some other good initiatives. And none of the less than reduce on-premise hardware cost. Obviously, when it comes to backup as a service, DR as a service, you are not putting anything on premise, everything is managed by you. There also you can show your end customer that this is where end customer can save money. Then obviously better management in reporting with VCSP, with the new features, with the new platform which Veeam has, you will get better management in reporting. So everything can be presented to end customer in the form of a report, in the form of the dashboards and all those things are possible. And obviously you can improve your SLAs, right? So this is where you can see your market opportunities for backup as a service, DR as a service. So 62% of the guys in today's world are using managed service providers to manage their IT infrastructure from a valid managed service provider. So guys, here this is an opportunity for you. You can also become a managed service provider and provide backup as a service, DR as a service on Veeam platform. So if you talk about what Veeam is, what exactly is VCSP? VCSP is Veeam Crowd Service Provider Platform. We already have 24,000 VCSP partners who are managed service provider around the world, who are selling backup as a service, DR as a service on their platform. And those VCSP partners have approximately 65,000 plus Veeam resellers, who are again a system integrator, who are again a partner, who are selling managed service provider services on behalf of VCSP partners to their end customers. And all over the world, we have approximately 365,000 plus Veeam customers who are using backup as a service, DR as a service. Guys, don't make any mistake here. Here we are talking about those numbers which are related with VCSP partners. But if you talk about overall Veeam, which includes Veeam backup replication servers and other products, those numbers are huge. These numbers are only related with the cloud service platform, the VCSP platform, VCSP part of the Veeam, right? So Veeam is already there. They are doing very good in VCSP world, and now in EMEA also they are coming up with very aggressive things. Now, what exactly VCSP is? So when we talk about cloud service platform or cloud service provider, everybody talks about the public clouds which are available around the world. So let's see what exactly VCSP is. So when we talk about VCSP for a managed service provider has lots of things which needs to be managed by them for an end customer. So for them, the common challenges which each managed service provider faces is first of all the connectivity, right? The connectivity means you need to connect with an end customer on premise, with end customer data center, and you need to manage that, right? So connectivity becomes a prime most challenges for them. So either you need to do a site to site VPN connectivity, or you need to do some kind of connectivity with the end customer data center to manage it from your environment. Then the second part is the infrastructure. You need to place an entire infrastructure either on customer premise or on your premise. You need to manage that entire infrastructure. Then the another challenge which MSP faces is the discovery and management. When I say discovery and management, let's say you have connected with your customer premise and you want to manage some workload. To manage that workload, you are supposed to connect with that workload. You are supposed to discover that workload from your environment. And to do that, there are lots of challenges, because when it comes to WAN network, there are lots of hops which comes into between, which includes firewalls, which includes network rules. There are so many obstacles which comes in between, which kind of stops you to discover and manage customer environment. And then the important part is the billing. How you will make sure that the amount of resources which you are kind of utilizing to manage customer environment, how you can keep a track of it. For you, it's very important to showcase your end customer that this is the amount of effort which has been uh, done on your environment from managed service provider side. So you need to document it, right? Because this helps you in billing. And again, after that, the important part is the security. After doing all those things, how you can make sure the entire infrastructure is secured enough so that customer data is safe, your infrastructure is safe, customer infrastructure is safe. So these are couple of major challenges which each managed service provider faces when it comes to backup as a service, DR as a service, right? So how we overcome those challenges, this is how we are going to talk about it. So if you see on a high level scenario, this is Veeam Service Provider Console 4, a kind of high level architecture, wherein if you see on the left hand side, this is customer environment. So if you see a customer environment, this either can be a virtual server comprises of, or this either can be a physical servers or workstation. Now, being an MSP, being a managed service provider, for you, what you get from being service provider console is you get one web-based customer onboarding, billing, and licensing portal. I'll explain this in my coming slides. What exactly does it mean? It means Veeam Service Provider Console is an web-based tool with the help of which you can get all those templates inbuilt in a web-based form, right? So wherein you have and challenges with the billing, the connectivity, the templates, the licensing, everything is being managed by Veeam Service Provider Console. Then the second part is the discovery, the management, monitoring, how you discover the objects which are available in customer premise. This is how Veeam works this solution with other platforms very well, that you don't have to create any site-to-site VPN connectivity between managed service provider environment and end customer environment. Everything has been taken care by managed service provider console, which is Veeam Service Provider Console, and they create one TLS and SSL connectivity on WAN with the help of FQDN links, wherein you can kind of discover your objects which are setting on WAN on end customer environment. I'll explain this in detail in my coming slides. We'll have one demo also. I'll show you how this looks like. Then the last part is the security. So in security also, it's a web-based tool wherein you can define different roles for different organizations. You can have multiple tenants with different roles and access, wherein you can create it for different end customers. So there is one-stop solution for everything which managed service provider can get with the help of Veeam Service Provider Console 4. Right. So what exactly Veeam Service Provider Console is? First of all, guys, it's free. It's a free tool which is being provided to service managed service provider. There is no cost, no license associated with it. It's a web-based management tool, right? What exactly it does? In my demo, I'll show you. It's the same concept of Veeam backup replication which service provider console follows. Everything is GUI driven, right? Like next, you can simplify your setup. You can create your tenants, you can create your companies, you can create your resellers, everything from web based tool. It's very simple. It also gives you remote monitoring and management. With the help of the same service provider console, you can monitor customer infrastructure, you can monitor your own infrastructure, and you can also manage it. Now you can integrate and automate it. We have certain plugins, certain applications which are available on the platforms which are being provided by other guys. You can integrate those plugins to get a more granular kind of monitoring, granular kind of management of your backup as a service and DR as a service environment. So you can integrate it. There are lots of automation, lots of scripting which you can do in terms of invoicing, in terms of the management of one customer infrastructure. Because see, when we talk about a managed service provider infrastructure, it's huge infrastructure which consists of different types of end customers. Each customer can have their unique site of data center which has some different workloads running, and to manage those you need to manage it in a different way. So for that you have different ideas, different things which you can do it with one specific tenant. I'll explain you in detail why in my demo what I mean. Then the important part is the usage reporting and billing, right? So you have done everything. You have managed to configure the infrastructure from your side and from customer side, but how you can bill it? So for billing also we have something called billing templates which you can customized according to your need. For different customers you can have different billing reports as well as templates which can be useful. And then you have multi-tenant self-serviceability. As I mentioned previously, means if you have multiple customers, for multiple customers you can create multiple tenants with self-serviceability rules. Means customer can also see what is happening in their environment. If you want to give an access of managed service provider console to an end customer, that also can be provided. So we'll talk about this. So we have already discussed that it's a simplified setup, wizard driven setup which works on the principle of Veeam backup replication, aggregated usage report, single solution for total coverage with one single solution. Same way, like in Veeam backup replication, what all things you can manage? You can manage your physical workload, cloud workload, and virtual workload from one single centralized console. Similarly, the same concept follows here as well. From one single pane of glass, you are managing everything. It's a web-based GUI tool from where you can manage anything. And as I said, there are certain RESTful APIs which are available, which you can integrate it with different technologies which are available. For example, connectwise is an separate kind of company or kind of tool which gives you more granularity in terms of monitoring your backup as a service, DR as a service, all those things. So remote monitoring and management. You can manage customer backup infrastructure remotely by connecting your VCSP infrastructure with them using the same web-based UI tool. Multi-tenancy we have already discussed. Now what exactly comes in version 4? Previously we used to call it as an Veeam availability console. Now it has been renamed to Veeam service provider console. It has lots of new enhancements which I'm going to show you in my demo. A couple of enhancements which are mentioned here, which includes new integration with ConnectWise Automate. This is a plugin which is available. Enhanced usage reporting. You can see multiple templates for usage reporting for different customers which are available here. Then new capabilities to support version 10. The guys who are already working with Veeam portfolio, they are aware of what exactly version 10 is. So this service provider console is fully integrated with version 10. One of the major feature of version 10 is NAS backup, which also is included in here. So you all those NAS backup features are also being supported in this service provider console. Then enhanced API interface. If you have some specific things which needs to be integrated with it, Veeam gives you its open APIs which you can integrate it with. Then enhanced reseller role. So in this we have introduced a new role called reseller role. Reseller means the guy who does not want to have their own infrastructure, but they can connect with some existing VCSP infrastructure, and you can add that as a reseller in your environment and create maybe a separate template for him. So this is new ConnectWise automation integration. It enables your entire customer ecosystem to be accessible from one central location. Faster responses to customer needs, saves time and resources by managing everything from a single user interface. ConnectWise is a plugin which gives you, as I said, more granularity in the management of your infrastructure. Then usage reporting, I'll show you what exactly does it mean. Previously what used to happen, for each workload you are supposed to send the report to us, but from now onwards what happened, it's all being automated in Veeam service provider console. You don't have to do anything, everything is being done automatically by service provider console. Version 10 capabilities, I have already explained this, what exactly this means. Enhanced API interfaces, that also I have explained. Enhanced reseller role, this is where I'll show you in my demo what exactly does this mean. So without wasting further time, let's directly go into the demo and show you how it looks like, what's the feel of it. Yeah, so just give me a second, let me log in. So here you go. So I have already logged in. So as you can see, it's a web-based tool. Let me do one thing. Let me show you from the beginning how it looks like. Uh, so this is a web-based tool. So let me open this. Yeah. So as I said, it's a web-based tool, right? So for web-based tool, you just need to provide the FQDN name of that service provider console. So this is my FQDN name. It works on 1280 port number. If you have something else, you can also change the port number according to your requirement. So let's see if it comes up. Yeah. So it's already been logged in because I have saved my username and password. It asks for an username and password, and I have authenticated it with my Active Directory. And this is the main console. So if you see, so mine one, I have not updated one patch, which I can do it. That's not a problem. So this is the main console wherein you can see a dashboard, right? In this dashboard, if you see, there are certain widgets which are available. So what are the client alarms? How many protected VMs are there? How many protected computers are there? Replicas, backups, protected files. The same console you can have it. This is my managed service provider console, which is for an service provider admin. Same console you can provide it for your tenant also, which will have some specific dashboard only related with that tenant itself, right? So as I said in the beginning, this is all GUI driven. There are very simple steps which you need to follow to uh, create your service provider environment. So if you see on the left hand side, there are certain tabs available which are for the configuration part. But if you are logging in into this first time, this environment is also a fresh environment wherein I have not configured anything. There are only a couple of things which I have configured. So if you are a new guy to this service provider console environment, so before configuring this, guys, just understand one thing. This Veeam service provider console is a web-based tool which manages your Veeam cloud infrastructure, right? To have your Veeam cloud infrastructure in place, you need to have your Veeam backup replication server running and your Veeam Cloud Connect gateway servers running in your environment, right? We are managing those Veeam backup replication server and Cloud Connect servers with this service provider console. Okay, so just be clear on this. Service provider console is just a management tool which manages your cloud infrastructure, which manages your service provider infrastructure, right? So to achieve your service provider console status, you need to have your other components ready if you go into technical architecture. So now you are a new guy who is supposed to configure Veeam service provider console. So if you see on the right hand side on the top, there is one tab called configuration. You just need to click on this configuration. You can see on the left hand side, the certain options are being changed, and you can see something called getting started. If you see all those steps in getting started, this is where you are configuring your entire service provider console. So these are the steps which you need to perform when you are configuring your service provider console, right? So starting from the service provider console, as I said in the beginning, it's to connect your customer environment. You don't have to create any site to site VPN. It always works on TLS layer, right? So you need to have one security certificate which needs to be installed in your local environment, which is a self-signed generated certificate by Veeam backup replication and this service provider console. So you can see there are very simple steps. You need to follow these steps and that's it. Your service provider console is done. I'll show you a couple of important steps which needs to be configured. So if you see your certificate, this is how it looks like. I'll just show you how it looks like. So you can see automatically it shows you the Veeam self-signed certificate, right? So once this is done, your security part is configured. So these self-signed certificate are the important part of Veeam service provider console. Then the next part is to add cloud connect servers, right? So to have your Veeam cloud connect servers running, you need to add one service provider console. So in my case, I have added one just to show you how it looks like. So you need to provide the DNS name of that cloud connect server. So in my case, my cloud connect server is running on the same console. That's why it says localhost, and you need to provide a site name. Once you click on next, this is your authentication, which is integrated with domain, then your service account, and that's it. You are done. So once this is done, you can see something called uh, Veeam Cloud Connect server, which has been added here. You can see the version, you can see the last heartbeat, activeness, and also if you see on the top, you see some other options. If you want to do some maintenance activity onto this, you can put this in maintenance mode, and you can do some activity which is related with patching, upgrading, or maybe scalability or something like that. Or also if you want to reboot your remote computer, reboot your cloud connect server from this console, you can do it. Guys, just imagine for a managed service provider, he'll have multiple end customers connected with their environment. So for them, this cloud connect server, this cloud gateway is the very important part which cannot go down, right? So to keep in mind all those factors, we have configured couple of options here which will be helpful for you to manage your infrastructure, to manage your service provider infrastructure. So once your cloud gateway is added, after that you need to configure a notification, right? Notifications are the most important part. You can have alarm notification, you can have email notification, and you can have billing notification. So if you see, you need to configure, obviously you need to configure your SMTP server. So in my case, because it's a fresh installation, that's why it's not being configured here, but I'm just showing you all the options wherein these are the useful options for a service provider. Because when you configure an SMTP here, you can send automatic alerts which are related with billing, which are related with the management of the infrastructure, which are related with backup jobs, DR jobs, how which job has been replicated successfully or not. All those things you can configure here, right? And yes, similarly you can see alarms management, that also can be configured. You can see there are lots of alarms, predefined alarms which are available here. Also you can create your own alarms if you want, and that can be scheduled. For example, backup connection state. So if I edit this role, so you see, you can enable this role. There is a condition which is available here, equal to, not equal to, where, when it is active, non-active, how to do it, right? So if you see all those things, everything is GUI driven. What action needs to be done? Use configuration setting, notification tab. What do you want to do? Whether you want to execute a script related with that error or alarm, or you want to send an email notification, on which condition, whether it is an error or warning or error only. So means there are lots of granular features which you can use for each specific tenant or end customer, right? So these all things can be configured using service provider console. Now once your first part is added which says configure Veeam service provider console, right? So here, till these three steps, you have configured your own infrastructure. Now you need to configure a company profile. Company profile means your own profile. So in that, for example, you can have your specific branding associated with the reports. So when the email is going to an end customer, it should contains your logo, it should contain the parameters which you have defined in your environment, right? So all those things can be defined in here. Quickly I'll just show you the how the template looks like. So here you can see text ID, country, blah 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 blah, email, etc. You can do everything. Then this is the important part called portal branding. You can have your company logo, you can browse the image which is a kind of JPEG or whatever image you have, and that image. So right now you can see on the left off it says Veeam Service Provider Console. Instead of this, your company logo will come here, and that logo will come on to your alarms, on your notification, on your reports, so that your end customer will see that it's coming from you, right? So you can customize your portal according to your requirement. So let me again quickly go. So again, if you go to getting started, branding is done. This is again an important part which says the subscription plan. So subscription plans are the templates which is specific for one tenant. For example, you have tenant one. For that, you have created one plan. Let's say it says if that guy consumes 10 GB, for each 10 GB you are charging him, let's say, $5. So similarly, for each end customer you can have different subscription plans. So in with this portal you can have multiple subscription plans for multiple tenants, specific to each and everyone. So for example, let's say I'll just edit one of the template which I have just created for testing purpose. So if I edit this, so you can see, you can name it. For example, this is your tenant one. So in that tenant one, how do you want to charge him, on which currency? right? You can see all the currencies here. So let's say if he's in UAE, so you want to charge him AED. If some tax is there, right? So in UAE we have 5% tax, let's say, and what level of discount you want to give him, right? You can define everything here. What that guy, what are you backing up for that guy? For that end customer, let's say you are giving him managed services uh, for 10 VMs, maybe it includes 100 VMs, 5 workstation agents, 10 server agents, and how are you going to define it, right? You can define your values here. Does that customer has any file share which needs to be backed up, which you are managing? What are you doing? Are you doing a cloud backup, or are you doing a cloud replication? So you can define here. Let's say if you have 5 VMs or 100 VMs, and for each VM you are charging him, let's say $10. So 100 into 10, right? So 1,000 VM per month as a backup. All those things, all those parameters you can define here. This is for a backup, this is for a replication, how much storage that guy can have. So once you are done with it, you will have one template which is pre-configured here. Uh, which is pre-configured here in this environment, and you can utilize it. So this is where you configure your different subscription plans for your end customers. So now the next part is, if you again go to the tool, you can see something called just give me a sec. Register your first managed company or add a reseller company, right? So this is where you are configuring your customer environment or a reseller environment. Now, just imagine your company, your end customers are the resellers, or your reseller is another system integrator. Therein you can define. So for example, let's say you have an end customer who is already having a backup environment placed in here, but the requirement is to create a DR site, right? Wherein he says that, okay, backup I am already taking care, you take care of my TR infrastructure. So it means he is already an existing customer of Veeam backup replication. So therein you can add his backup and replication server on your environment, and you can use it. You can manage his DR environment using your environment also, right? So all those things are possible using this. So right now it's not been added, that's why it is going onto connecting my VBR server. So that's why it says like this. So what I mean to say, that's the management, the configuration part of Veeam backup and replication is very easy when it comes to Veeam service provider console. So this is where you configure, this is where you do your initial configuration. Once the initial configuration is done, right, these all widgets will be visible to you here, wherein you can see the reporting, right? Reporting is the important part, wherein you can see all the invoices, the templates which you have created, which will come here as a dashboard. Also you can see your cloud connect resources in the form of GUIs, in the form of dashboards. The same dashboard can be presented to a tenant also, right? These are the invoices if you see here. Then the important part is the reporting, how you will see that your end customer is consuming how many resources. From here you can configure all those things, how he can see, right? So for each configuration you can create a different rules also. So means what, for each workload, for each tenant, what all tenants you are protecting, everything can be monitored, can be seen, can be modified, can be managed using service provider console, right? So these are couple of tabs which are available. And also I just wanted to show you one more thing, which is called licensing. If you go to licensing part, for each tenant you can have their different usage reports. So if you see in usage report, there are certain usage reports. Right now it's empty, but you can have your usage report specific to each customer. So you can import your usage report, according to Cloud Connect servers, according to backup servers, according to backup agents. Guys, just keep in mind, whatever workload Veeam is able to manage, everything you can do it using Veeam Service Provider Console, which means you can back up workstation, you can back up physical servers, you can back up virtual servers, you can back up cloud servers, you can back up anything, whatever Veeam protects, you can back up NAS devices, everything can be backed up using this service provider console. So you can create different subscription plans, you can have different type of licensing related with, and you can create different roles and users. Means if you see, these are the roles and user, these are the roles which are by default available in Veeam. So for each specific uh, tenant, you can have different roles available for them. So we have three types of role available in service provider console, which is read-only user, portal operator, portal administrator. Portal administrator can manage everything when it comes to the service provider console. Read-only user, maybe you can give it to your end customer as a read-only user. They can see what is happening in their environment specific to that tenant only. Portal operator can do restore operation, etc. If you want to give access to your again end customers, you can create that users here and give the access to them. So it's a role based and access utility which is available here. So this is a kind of, just an overview to show you how it looks like. So when it comes to real part, real world, it works very well. So now let's quickly get on to our this thing, how it looks like. uh, so we have already covered all those things. So in demo we have seen that I'm sorry, just going from the beginning. In demo we have seen how it looks like, how you can create roles, how from one single pane of glass you can see all those things. So licensing, usage reporting and billing is the important part which we have seen. We have almost everything inbuilt in service provider console, which gives you visibility, which gives you availability to see all the reports regardless on which location you have. You can see everything from one centralized console. You can create different workflows for approvals and all, that also can be possible. As I said, everything is being managed by service provider console, so your licensing becomes very easy. There is one centralized place wherein you have installed one license key. So when you configure your service provider console, there is one big license key which you receive from Veeam, which includes all the workload licenses. For example, let's say at the initial stage you have requested for uh, maybe let's say 100 VM backup, maybe 100 physical server backup, and maybe 100 cloud VMs backup, which needs to be managed at the initial stage. So that entire 100, that entire license key is sitting on your Veeam backup replication, and it's one key which is being distributed onto different tenants. So everything is managed by one centralized location, right? So also you can get the reports according to each customer and tenant. So in Veeam, in service provider console, we have a concept of points, right? So for each specific tenant, how many points are you consuming related with that tenant, that report also you can generate, so that you are aware, okay, your tenant number one is generating is consuming 100 points, and this is the cost which is associated with 100 points, right? So this becomes very easy. Then the RESTful APIs, there are lots of companies which are using those RESTful APIs for different purposes, right? For example, ConnectWise is also using it to give you more granularity. Then also, if you have something specific in your mind, specific for that end customer, which you want to, let's say, kind of integrate it, you can do it by yourself. All those APIs are available, and lots of scripts are available on GitHub also, which are associated with it. Which, for example, a certain workload wherein you don't have VSS functionality, which has to, to get an application consistent backup, you need to do it using scripts. That all those types of things are available there. Now, when it comes to VCSP licensing, obviously, 30 days trial is free of cost, which includes remote management, VBR, management of agents, monitoring, which includes Veeam One, using Veeam Cloud. All those are included in 30 days trial. You can call us at any point of time to test this technology in your environment and provide it to your end customers. Uh, there are some free tools also which are available. When you buy this, along with it you can get some free tools, and also there are some commitment plans for your rental which are available in all three platforms. In all three licenses platforms, your service provider console is free, right? It comes as a free, which is available for all. So if we go on to a total summary, what have we discussed today? We have discussed the backup as a service, DR as a service, Veeam offering, which you can utilize for your end customers to provide your managed service providers offering. Then the reporting part, how easy it is for you to manage to report the entire infrastructure. You have some inbuilt templates which you can use it for billing purposes specific to each and every tenant, right? The billing part is very sorted in VCSP platform. Then your Veeam Cloud Connect technology, how the cloud technology of Veeam is communicating with your end customer environment. There is no side to side VPN. Everything is on TLS connection via a single port. Then you have multi tenancy. You can have different tenants configured in one simple centralized single console. And you have RESTful APIs. Those RESTful APIs, you can integrate it with your environment. Guys, these are some of the unique strengths of VCSP console. So the guys who are managing service provider kind of scenario, for them these are the important things which they require. Then, as I mentioned, VCSP is a free tool. It delivers more values to you, more values to your Veeam customers who are already using Veeam products, but they somehow wanted a managed service provider to manage their entire infrastructure. Therein, it's a good opportunity for you. Um, VCSP platform is a kind of recurring revenue platform wherein every month you are billing to your end customer. So it is a good opportunity for you also to build your recurring sales, and it is very different from from a competition, because everything, the entire control is in the hands of managed service provider, wherein service provider is making their own templates. They are deciding what to sell in the market, what kind of uh, maybe a margins, maybe templates on which they want to work on. So everything is under your control. You are deciding what needs to go out from your managed service offerings, right? This is what we discussed. VCSP is that part of the Veeam which is growing day by day by day by day. These are some old numbers which are presented here, but I am sure in 2020 these numbers are increased in a very good way. So these are some of the numbers which we have discussed initially. Guys, there is an opportunity for you. You can also become a part of it. Uh, let's so what are you waiting for? Let's start offering managed services today. It's all free. There is no contract, nothing you have to sign it. You just need to go to Veeam partner portal, apply for VCSP program, or you can send me an email. If you need to go deep dive technical into this session, how the VCSP works, how it looks like, how to configure it, will be able to help you. So if you want to start providing these services, come in, come and talk to me. This is my email ID. You can send me an email. You can call me also at any point of time. We are ready to help you with the required knowledge or the required support which you need. So that's all from my side. Let's see if some questions are there. So let me answer those questions. Let's see, discuss about it. I cannot see any other questions. So thank you so much, guys, for your time. Be safe, stay safe, and hopefully we'll meet once again. Thank you so much.